Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel again. This is Cloud Institution, the best cloud training institution in Bangalore. So today, in this video, we're going to see another AWS interview question and answers. Okay, so the question is going to be for today is that is the default subnets in VPC or public or private? Okay, so the question the interviewer may try to ask you is that so do you really understand that how VPC works by default? Okay, so whenever you're creating a AWS account, so in each region you'll be having each region you'll be having a um, one VPC and then multiple subnets. Okay, so in the last session we have seen that how many subnets and how many VPCs will be created in each region. Okay, so we are going to see it again with some kind of answer. The answer for this question will be like there's a default subnets in VPC or public or private. Basically, when you start using VPCs, you have a default VPC in each region, and the default VPC comes with the public subnets in each available zones, an internet gateway, and then settings to enable the DNS resolution. So the answer for this question will be all the subnets, whatever it has been by default is created by AWS, that is going to be public subnets. So if you're deploying your applications, or if it's something is critical application, if you want to deploy it into the private subnet, okay, so please do not use the default subnet because it's by default it comes with a it comes with the internet gateway, and attached, and it enable that public is enabled to the public accessible, which means that it enabled to the internet. So this is what something you should be understanding. So let's go back and see some kind of a demo on is it really how come how do you how do you understand that and how do you see whether the default subnets or private subnets or public subnets. Okay, so now I'm going back to one of the regions. Okay, so I'm already in the Frankfurt region, or I can also go to any other regions. Okay, so whenever you go to VPCs, okay, I'm going typing VPC. Okay, so if you can see the VPCs, you'll be having a VPC. The default VPC will be available here. Okay, so if you can see all the regions, in all the regions there'll be one VPC will be available. So now you can see here, see everywhere all the VPC, all the regions will be having a one VPC by default will be available. Okay, so if you can click on this VPC, okay, so this VPC having this is the default VPC. So we are in the last video we have seen that what's the CADR range for this VPC, right? So everything is good, right? So now if you can go back to the subnets. Okay, so we have a three subnets for this particular region because we have a three availability zones. Okay, so which is available zone 1A, 1B, and 1C. Okay, that is the reason why we are having the three subnets by default. So if you can ask me that whether these three subnets are private or public, how do you get to know that whether this is public, private or public? Okay, if you want to understand some kind of a concepts like this, okay, first of all you have to understand whether how the public route will be enabled. Okay, so if you can ask me like so if it is a VPC, if this one is a VPC, okay, so the VPC, first of all you need to be checking that whether the internet gateway is attached to VPC or not. Okay, so internet gateway, this is the internet gateway. Internet gateway is attached to the VPC or not. So once the internet gateway is attached to VPC, whenever you're creating a subnets, okay, so let's say for example this is subnets. Okay, so subnets will be having a route table, right? So we'll be having a route table over here. Okay, so route table enable the route to the internet gateway. So how it works? So the request will come to the route table. Route table will check whether you have an access, we have a route enabled through the internet gateway to the internet or not. Okay, so now we'll be checking that internet gateway route will be available. So meanwhile, so if it is available, then subnet will be able to talk to outside internet. Okay, which is some kind of a internet, right? Which is the which is kind of a internet world. Okay, so now let's see if this subnet is having a route through the route table. Okay, this is the route table. Okay, route table, through that the internet gateway will be enabled to the outside world or not. Okay, so now let's see if, first of all, let's see whether the internet gateway is attached to this VPC or not. Okay, how to check that? Let's go back here. So let's go back to the internet gateway. First of all, is there any internet gateway created or not? Okay, first internet gateway is created. Okay, and then it has been attached to the VPC ID. okay, should be attached to the VPC ID. VPC ID is ends with 5A4E. Okay, you can go back to VPC. So the VPC will be 5A4E, right? So now this internet gateway is created and it's been attached to the VPC. Okay, so which means that the first step is clear. Okay, so VPC is created and then it's attached to the internet gateway, right? So now it has the most possible way that it can be a all the subnets can be a uh, public subnets, right? So now let's go back and see the subnets. If the subnet is having that route, whatever I mentioned it or not. So let's go back to subnets. Okay, so we have three subnets. Okay, so all three subnets has been associated with one VPC. Okay, this is the VPC ID we have seen 5A4E is the VPC. Now, if you can go back to if you click on one here, okay, so let's go back to the route table. Okay, see the route table is been enabled with 0.0.0.0/0. Okay, and it has a route to internet gateway. Okay, so this is internet, right? 0.0.0.0 is the internet, and then internet will be route through the internet gateway, okay, from this subnet. Okay, as I mentioned with you here, we have a subnet over here that it has a route table. Route table will have a route to the internet gateway. Through the internet gateway, it should be enabled the to the route to the internet. Okay, so this is what you should be remembering. Okay, so now if you can see this one is there. Okay, let's go for a subnet again. You can go for any kind of route table. Every route table will be having a internet gateway attached, and then it has a route enabled, which means that all the subnets whatever it's been created by default in AWS, okay, which we call as a default subnets. Okay, so all the subnets are in AWS or a public subnets. Okay, so if you create any VMs under this one, so that VM will be considered as a public VM. Okay, it will be accessed because it is being deployed in the public subnets of your VPC. Okay, so this is what so this question may be very simple, but most of the people don't understand, so they'll be thinking that whether it is everything is private, but it is not the case. Okay, so everything in AWS will be public initially, so all the VPCs, subnets, everything. So you should be explicitly make it the private. If you don't want the private, you have to be removing the internet gateway route from the from the from the route table, so that it will be a private one. Okay, so hope you understand this question, right? So like we'll be seeing a lot of interview questions, interesting and so really useful interview questions that can be useful whenever you're attending real-time interviews. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video again. So if you like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want to enroll for any courses or AWS courses or Azure courses, please let us know, and please call us or reach out on this number. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and see you again in the next video.